Thank you for joining us at FTP Sports Games. This video contains a few example shifts for ringside hockey using the play result cards and the game center charts. For the purposes of this video, we are using some automated PRCs. And when you click the flip PRC button, it draws new cards and it allows everything to proceed as they normally would off of each card. In this case, when I refer to them, the left PRC is this one and the right PRC is that one. Pretty self-explanatory. And if you've read through the ringside hockey instructions, which are found on ftpsportsgames.com, there's a link there for instructions, and you can click on it and it'll pull up the PDF of the game instructions. When you look at these cards, the red numbers on both of them, those are random numbers 1 through 10 and are referred to in the instructions as the red number. And then these numbers here, these blue numbers, are random numbers 1 through 20 and in the instructions are referred to as the blue number. And then each side has a random number 1 through 100, and in the instructions those are referred to as the italicized number 100, and both left and right PRCs contain that. Then these two numbers here are random numbers 0 through 9, and those combine together to make a number 1 through 100, in this case 85. So when you flip a new card, that's 63, 66, etc., etc. And when you're looking at this area here, this is the official, and whether they're making a penalty call or not, depending on whether you're in the let them play mode, normal mode, or call it tight. This is a good scenario here. When they're in the let them play mode, all three bars have to be colored. In other words, the official, there's a higher threshold for him to call a penalty. And in this case here, we see that only the first one is colored in, and that's for the call it tight mode. So whenever any of the blocks are colored in the call it tight mode, there's a penalty. It takes 2 blocks to be filled in the normal mode, and it takes all 3 blocks to be filled in when the officials are in the let them play mode, as it has to rise to a higher threshold for penalties to in fact be called. And I've got a little copied a printed screen section here of the game center chart in case we need to reference any of those things while we're going through these example shifts. Laid out here are the same 2 teams that I used for the computer game example shifts, the 1992-93 Pittsburgh Penguins as the visiting team, and the 1992-93 Philadelphia Flyers as the home team. And on another sheet we have the ringside hockey game center charts in case we need to flip through and access those at any time. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's have a neutral zone face-off between the Penguins and the Flyers, between Mario Lemieux and Eric Lindros. And as covered in the game instructions, you're comparing the 2 face-off ratings. Lemieux has an 11 and Lindros has an 8. And these are not just face-off ratings independent of other things. It's actually kind of a combined rating depending on a team and their possession ability and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more than just sheer face-off ability that goes into that number. It has to do with puck possession as well. So we see here that Lemieux has an advantage of 3 over Lindros, and so we take that advantage, which is 3, add it to 10, and that gives him a range of 1 through 13 for winning and controlling the face-off for his team, and that would leave Lindros with a range of 14 through 20. So then we look here. This is the face-off control and win number area, and this is the player who would control the face-off after the draw. So we draw a new card, and we see that the red highlighted T comes up. And when that happens in a neutral zone face-off scenario, that means the visiting team has won the face-off and immediately dump the puck into the zone and dump and chase. So when that happens, we flip a PRC, get a new card, the puck gets dumped in, and you mark a time sequence. Anytime the puck enters a zone under those circumstances, you mark a time sequence. And then you look at the left PRC in the dump and chase section, and this calls for an offensive battle in the right corner. And the offensive player is listed on the left, and the defensive player in these scenarios is listed on the right. So it calls for the offensive player, in this case Mario Lemieux, to go into the right corner and try and dig the puck out. Well, he's got a rating of 10, and in this case, when you're looking at their offensive rating, you can just ignore the minus symbol. That's used for board scrums. And if one of those pops up, we'll get into that a little bit more. Those are explained pretty thoroughly in the instructions. So he's got a rating of 10, and we're going to use a red number. So we flip the card. It's 2. That means Lemieux digs out the puck, and in that scenario, his team has possession of the puck in the neutral zone, and it's the right winger. So Yager has possession of the puck with all offensive options available, and let's say he tries to set someone up. So we're going to draw a new card, and we're going to look at the red number and check that against his setup rating, and it barely fits, right? So he has a rating of 6. It is 6, so he's going to set up a player. Well, who's that going to be? Anytime a player is set up, you look for the scoring chance grade, which is a C in this case, and we've got one C, that's Ulf Samuelsson, all right? And they are staggered, so A's come up a lot more by percentage than B's, then C's, and then D's are very low, around 4% of the time. So the puck was dumped in. Lemieux digs it out of the corner. Yager has it and tries to set up Ulf Samuelsson. And because he was successful, Ulf Samuelsson is now going to get a shot on goal. Anytime you determine that a shot on goal is going to take place right here, if block shot or deflection or anything like that is showing, then you need to make sure you check that when you draw the card. And the right winger is going to have a chance to try and get in and block that shot. And it's Mark Recchi. So let's see if this shot's on target. We flip a new card, and the red number is over Recchi's block shot rating, so he doesn't block the shot. 64 is within Ulf Samuelsson's shot target range, so it is a shot on goal. It's on target, but it's over 50, which means it's an easy shot for the goalie to see and save. So it's a good quality scoring chance, which means that you're using the blue number here to determine if a goal is actually going to happen or not. So we flip a new card, and we see that the result number is 36. And because it was an easy shot for Soderstrom to see from Samuelsson, we're going to use the easy column here, which are these black numbers. Harder shots to save are these blue numbers here, and they have a blue square around them just to make them so that they're pretty easy to pick up when you're glancing. So 36, 3 fits into his save and cover rating, and 6 fits into his pad range. So Soderstrom makes a pad save and covers that one up. And at that point, we would look to see if anything happens after the whistle. Nothing happens, and then we would mark another time sequence. So on the dump and chase and puck recovery, we marked one once the puck was dumped in, and then after the shot on goal took place and it was covered and saved and covered by Soderstrom, we marked another time sequence. So a minute has already gone by. So let's just keep right on rolling here with a few more example shifts. Let's have another draw between Lemieux and Lindros. It's a defensive draw for the Flyers. So we flip a new card. We look here, 6 is within Lemieux's win range, and it's back to the right defenseman, which is Larry Murphy. Murphy's got some pretty good offensive skills, so let's have him try and set someone up. So we draw a new card, and we refer to the red number. The red number is within Larry Murphy's setup range. Who does he set up? Again, it's a scoring grade, chance grade of C, so it's going to be Ulf Samuelsson. So in your mind, you kind of see Lemieux wins it back to Murphy. Murphy slides out over to Samuelsson, and Samuelsson's going to get a shot on goal. And it happens like that. It's like a dot-to-dot type picture that we all did when we were little. We all did those little dot-to-dot things where you follow the number, connected the dots, and pretty soon a neat picture would show up. Those were fun days, right? I don't even know if kids do those anymore. But we all did them when we were younger, and it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of how it happens in rinkside hockey. This is a dot-to-dot connecting of the different actions. So these actions lead you around the ice. They're the dots, and they are connected every time you use a number check against the ratings, and it starts to string together, in other words, the dot-to-dot picture and the mental imagery of what's happening on the ice. This is not a stick touch by stick touch game. That would take far too long, and I don't know about you, but I would lose interest. And so this more than anything encapsulates the type of action that's happening in a dot-to-dot type scenario. So Lemieux wins the drawback to Murphy. Murphy slides that over to Samuelsson, and we're going to see how his shot on goal chance turns out. Nothing is showing here, so no one's going to be there to block it or deflect it or anything like that. And we draw a new number, and 39 is within Samuelsson's shot target range. Over here would be posts and crossbars and anything like that if one were hit, and it's not. So this time it's actually going to be a difficult shot for the goalie to save. Again, it's a setup rating, so that's a quality scoring chance. You're using the blue number, and it's a difficult shot for Soderstrom to see and save. So we flip another card, and this time the play result number is 68. We go down here. The 6 fits into his corner rating, which means he saves the puck, and the puck is played over into the corner. And the 8 fits into his blocker and stick range. So Samuelson got another shot on goal, saved by Soderstrom. The puck's over into the corner, and we draw a new card. This time, we're in the zone, right? So it calls for an in-zone play to be resolved, and this time it calls for an offensive play in a dangerous position in the high slot, and it's the left winger, McEachern. So we're going to look at two things here, and this is explained pretty thoroughly in the Rinkside hockey instructions. We're going to use a blue number to see where it fits in his offense and his HQS number, which is his high quality scoring chance number. So we draw a new card, and it's 1. Couldn't be any better than that. So it's in McEachern's high quality scoring range, which means that now when Soderstrom, if a shot happens to be on net, then we're going to use his green number. So McEachern has it. Nothing is showing here, so there's no chance for a block or anything like that. Draw new cards. And this says here that it hits the crossbar and it goes out of play. Again, the formatting is just a little bit different here. That is colored in red on your PRCs, and the formatting here that didn't come out red. But anyways, it would have been on target, but it hits the crossbar and goes out of play. So whenever that happens, you click another time sequence, and so another 30 seconds has gone by. For fun, sometimes when you're playing with the PRCs, you can flip another card and see if the goalie would have been in position, because it would have been a save number of 32. So let's have another defensive zone draw for the Flyers and the Penguins. Draw a new card. This time it's 16. All right. So Lindros wins the face-off back to Gary Galley. Then, anytime that happens and the defensive team gets control of the puck, the next thing you do is you're going to determine if a breakout or a forecheck is involved in order for the Flyers to get out of their own defensive end into the neutral zone. We use this number here, the 7 and 3, combined to make 73, and that's in the forecheck section. So that means the Penguins are in a position to try and apply forecheck pressure. And for the purposes of our example shifts here, we're just keeping everything in a basic mode. So forecheck 2 for both teams, and then just a normal hitting strategy. So let's draw a new card, and under forecheck 2, it calls for the center to apply forecheck pressure, which is great because Lemieux is pretty darn effective at that. So we're going to draw a new card and see where that fits into his range. We use a blue number for that, and we see where it fits into Lemieux's FCD rating, which is defensive forecheck rating, and it is well within that. Some very high caliber players like Lemieux have a rating over 20. Everyone else is within or well under 20. And anytime you have a special player like Lemieux that's over 20, and the instructions go through this thoroughly, but you split that into two numbers. You take the 20 and you split that from 34, so you essentially have 20 and 14. If this number would have been low enough to be within the difference, which is 14, anything higher than 20 is a new range, so it's 1 through 14, that means that he would apply forecheck pressure and recover the puck. But in this case, it's 16, so it's over that second array of numbers, and so all he does is apply forecheck pressure, which leads to a loose puck scenario. We draw new cards, and again, high slot, offensive, dangerous scenario, and it's Lemieux. So he has a chance to get onto that puck in a very dangerous position, and let's see if it happens. Again, he has an offensive rating of 30 and an HQS rating of 21, so obviously this is going to turn out good, right? And 1 is as low as it can get. You check the number there. 69 is not within his draw penalty range. And so we're going to have a shot on goal unless the left defenseman, Gary Galley, can get a stick block on it. Draw new numbers. 8 is above. 8 is above Galley's block shot rating, so no block occurs. 78 is within Mario Lemieux's shot target range, but since it's over 50, that's going to be an easier puck for Soderstrom to save if he in fact gets the save. But because this was a dangerous scenario, we're using his green number for a high quality scoring chance, and so he does make the save. All right, so again, we look at those two numbers differently, 5 here and 4 here. So he makes a glove save, and it played over into the corner. All right, so Lemieux, good offensive scoring chance, not the greatest shot on goal. Sorry, I misplayed that. Because it was an easy shot for him to see, we used the black number. So Soderstrom makes the glove save and covers that one up. So we mark another time sequence, and we have an agitator showing here. So let's go over here to the agitator scenario, draw a new card, It's 0-9 over here. The home team agitator gets under the skin of an opponent. Check for penalty. So we need to determine who the agitators are. So we draw new cards. We have 16 and 26. 16 and 26. So it's the center against the left wing. So Lemieux is a potential agitator, and the left wing is a retaliator. And we need to see, when we look at these two numbers here, we take them as 1 through 100, so it's 83, and an agitator number of 5 would be necessary. All right, and Lemieux has that. He has an agitator number of 3, so he meets the threshold there. So there's a chance that the left winger, when we draw another card to determine the result, there's a chance that he might have got under the skin of Pelle Eklund, and we're trying to see if he draws a penalty. But since it's 99, it's not that high of a chance. So draw new cards. Sorry, sometimes there's a little bit of a lag here because of the screen capture software going. And it's 78, but so that's over Pelle Eklund's retaliator number. But because Lemieux was successful in getting a chance to agitate, that's a bump of 2 for momentum for the Penguins. All right. So let's go ahead and then maybe go through one more scenario. One more scenario. There's a defensive draw for the Flyers, and again it's Lemieux and Lindros. So we draw that. It's 7, and it's back to the right defenseman. So Lemieux wins the face-off, back to Larry Murphy, and let's see if he can set anybody up. 9 is over Larry Murphy's setup range, and anytime you try and make a play like a quality shot or a setup, there's 2 things to remember: even and odd. If it's even, that means that that's an automatic puck recovery for the defensive team, and they try and according to their hitting strategy, they may lay on the body to try and stack up some hits and some momentum. If it's odd, it's an automatic loose puck scenario. This one's odd, so it's a loose puck in the zone. Draw a new card. That calls for the right winger, right, because we're using zone play. That calls for the right winger to try and recover the puck in a normal offensive situation. That's Yager. He has a rating of 16. We use the blue number for that. So we draw another card, and 19 is over his offensive rating, so he is unable to recover the puck. All right? And so once that happens, we see that we draw a new card, and we see that hit is showing as a strategy here for the Flyers, and it calls for the center to try and lay on the body. That's Lindros. He has a pretty decent hit rating. All right. Sorry, it's lagging just a little bit. 7, we use the red number. That's above his hit rating, so no hit there. Then we take this number, combine it, and then we're back to a breakout forecheck scenario, okay? So it calls for a breakout this time because 47 fits into 1 through 50. We draw a new card. We're using forecheck strategy 2. It is a breakout, and it's the left defenseman. That's Gary Galley. He has a breakout rating of 18 and a headman rating of 3. Draw a new card, and we use the blue number. It is within his breakout rating, but not low enough to be in the headman, and 60 is nowhere near his draw penalty rating. So Gary Galley gets the puck up to center ice. Draw a new card. Mark Recchi has the puck in the neutral zone, and Mario Lemieux, now that we're in the neutral zone, Mario Lemieux is in a good defensive position to stop the Flyers from just breezing through the neutral zone. And when you read the Rinkside Hockey Game Center instructions, you know that the neutral zone is set up like a stoplight: red, yellow, green. Red meaning that the defense is set up in a very good position to stop any neutral zone flow, which necessitates a lot of pucks being dumped in deep to initiate a dump and chase for the team that keeps them from gaining the zone easily, or a very high risk play of trying to actually skate around the defenders that are well set up. When it's yellow, that means the play is slowing down some, and matchups start to develop between players in order to try and gain the zone, or offensive players may be called on to try and chip and chase or pass into the zone or skate into the zone. In this case, Lemieux is the player who's in good position, and you use the red number, again, which is a 1 through 10, and check that against his defensive rating. And you're not actually doing a check here, you're just seeing that he has a high one. So if it's 8 out of 10, that's an 80% chance he has of breaking up that. So it would be a lot easier and more advantageous and a better percentage play just to dump the puck in. So we dump it in, and it calls for a forecheck in the left corner, the center. So it calls on the dump and chase, it calls Lindros to go into the left corner, try and apply forecheck pressure. And because it's an offensive forecheck, you use his FCO, forecheck offense number, which is 13. Draw a new card, and it's over that. He's not able to provide successful forechecking. 44 is nowhere near his commit penalty rating, and that's it. So they dumped it in. He wasn't able to recover the puck, and we see here that in the strategy, there's a chance for a hit. And it would be the right winger, that's Yager, so we draw a new card. 9 is above Yager's hit rating, so nothing there. And then we take these two numbers here, and now we're back to a breakout forecheck. Oh, and by the way, a time sequence would have lapsed because of the dump in. So this calls for a forecheck. All right, draw a new card, and we're under forecheck 2, so that calls on the left winger to try and provide forecheck pressure. And because it's the other team has the puck, it's the defensive kind, so he has a 7 out of 20 chance of doing that. Draw a new card. 10. 10 is above, right? 10 is above his forecheck number. And because anytime this shows in yellow, there's a chance on the other side, and another one matches it, that there's an actual auxiliary play, but there's not. So he doesn't provide the forecheck pressure, and the puck is up into the neutral zone. All right, now here's the yellow scenario. The left winger, Sean McEachern, has the puck in the neutral zone, and because it's under a yellow scenario, things kind of slow down a little bit, and he just can't skate freely through the zones, and so it calls on him to try and chip and chase. All right, and you use his offensive rating for that, and a blue number, draw a new card. That is within his offensive number, which is great. Also, it is low enough to be within either his setup or his quality shot rating. When the number is within both of those, and that's how you're doing it. He was able to chip and chase the puck down. That was determined using the offensive number. But because this is low enough to be in these numbers here, there's something additional that may take place. And because there's two of them, we go back to odd and even. If this were odd and fitting into these two numbers, we would use a setup. But because it's even, we're going to use a quality shot. So great play by McEachern. Again, you're connecting the dots. He chips and chases down the puck. He does so in such a good way that he actually ends up with a quality shot out of it, all right? And there's a screen chance, all right? So the right winger, Jaromir Jagr, is going to have a chance to screen the goalie in front. So draw new cards, and 8 is over Jagr's net rating, so no screen there. And 83 is above McEachern's shot target range, so even though he made a good play on the chip and chase, got the puck, was able to get into a spot where he could have created a quality scoring chance, he fires the puck wide. We immediately move to a loose puck scenario, and it calls for the defensive player to play the man in the left corner, and it's the right winger. So we're going to use a red number and check it against Mark Recchi's hit and big hit number. Draw a new card, and it's above both of those, so he does not make the play, and the offensive team has the puck. It's McEachern, the left winger, with all offensive options, and let's say he just tries to throw one on net to see what happens. And there was nothing showing there, so there's no block shot chance. 63 is within his shot target rating, so he gets it on net, but it's very easy for the goalie to see. And not only that, we're using the black number, right, because it was not a high quality or even a quality scoring chance. So draw new cards, and we see that it is 0-4, and that calls for a special scenario that kicks in a rebound control chance. So Soderstrom is able to make the save, but because it starts with a 0 here, this number, then that triggers an automatic rebound control type situation. Draw a new card, and we check this blue number 1 through 20 against his rebound control number in the red box, and it splits into two as outlined in the game instructions: a lower rebound control number and a higher rebound control number. And 19 is above his higher rebound control number, so he spits out a huge rebound for an automatic shot on goal. So think about how that play happened. McEachern, he's able to get the puck after Recchi wasn't able to play the puck or take the body in the corner, and instead of trying to set someone up or get a quality shot, he decides just to throw that one on net. Soderstrom, on a really an easy shot to save, makes a save but spits out a rebound, which at that point would be a horrible rebound for him. And because it's, and when you read the instructions, you'll see how everything lines out for a rebound control chance. Because it was over his higher rebound control number, he spits out a huge rebound. And now we're going to see who's jumping on the puck. Well, requires a scoring chance grade of A, and we have 3 of those: Lemieux, Murphy, and Yager. But this here will tell you when you have more than one if it's a defensive player, and then even more if it's a player on the left or the right. So Murphy jumps on this one, and now he's got a juicy rebound right in front. So we draw a new card, and he fires that one wide. So missed opportunity there, and because when I say fire wide, anytime this number is 97 or higher, that means he fires the shot wide, and it rings clear around off the boards and off the glass and out of the zone, and play would continue with the neutral zone scenario. And anytime you have a loose puck in the neutral zone, you draw a new card, and you're using this H or V here to determine if the home team or the visiting team gains control of the puck. In this case, the home team does, so the Flyers gain control of the loose puck in the neutral zone. Flip a card, and we see here in the neutral zone section that it calls for someone to try and skate into the zone, and it's the center. So Lindros is going to try and skate into the zone using these ratings here. Draw a new card. 18 is within his offense number. 5 is nowhere near drawing a penalty. So Lindros gains the zone, and now he has the puck in the zone with all offensive options. We would mark a time sequence, etc., etc. And let's say Lindros tries to get into a quality scoring chance. Draw a new card, and 10 is above his quality scoring chance of 7. So he not only is he not able to get a quality scoring chance, but because it's an even number, and again, nothing over here matches it for an auxiliary play, because it's an even number, it's an automatic puck recovery for the Penguins. We draw a new card, and yes, in the hitting strategy, it calls for the right defenseman, Larry Murphy, to try and lay on the body. Flip a card. 10 is above his hit rating, so that doesn't happen. Take these two numbers together. Look over here. It calls for a breakout. Flip a new card. It calls for the left. In this case, under forecheck 2, it calls for the left defenseman to try and break out the puck. That's Samuelson. Breakout rating of 17. Headman of 1. Draw a new card. Use the blue number. 7 is within his breakout rating. The puck's up into the neutral zone. And we see here that it's a neutral zone red scenario. That means Lindros is in good defensive position in the neutral zone. And the left defensive player, Samuelson, has the puck, but Lindros is well set up. So instead of trying to take him on, let's just dump the puck in. And we mark a time sequence. And then we move here to the dump and chase section. And it calls for a D battle behind the net by the left defenseman. That's Gary Galley. He has a defensive battle rating of 18 and a physical number of 8. Draw new cards. He wins it. See, the 18 is within his defensive battle rating, and this number isn't high enough to draw a penalty. But under the physical section, with a rating of 2, that is within his number there, so you would chalk up a hit for the Flyers. So in the corner, Galley wins that one, gets a hit, and then you take these two numbers, you look back here, and again, it calls for a breakout. So we draw a new card. And we see that the left defenseman, so Galley, has a chance for a breakout. Numbers of 18 and 3. New card. 5 is within. 16, no penalty check there. Gets that puck out to center ice. Draw a new card. Again, Lemieux is set up well. Recchi has the puck. And let's just, for fun, try and challenge him. So we draw a new card. We're going to check Lemieux's defense rating against a red number. So he wins that one. Right? So Recchi tried to get around him. He can't. And under a failed neutral zone play, the play ends up being offsides. So Lemieux was in a good position. Recchi went for it anyways. And Lemieux was able to make the play. Everybody's offsides. And so you would mark a time sequence and play continues from there. So as you can see, you're basically just connecting the dots to start to link together the play, which leads to the loose pucks, shots on goal, recovering the pucks, and then a couple of suggestions here. The one thing that takes a little while sometimes to remember is when you actually look to see if he draws a penalty or commits a penalty. The one thing to remember there is offensive players draw penalties and can commit a penalty in the offensive zone if they fail to get on a loose puck or something like that. And defensive players also draw and commit penalties. So if a defensive player makes a play on the puck, you're checking to see if he draws a penalty. If he doesn't make a play on the puck, you're checking to see if he commits a penalty. Offensive players, it's the other way around. When it calls for them to do something in end zone play, etc., if they make the play, it's about positioning really more than anything. If they make the play, that means they were in a good position to do so, and they're in a position to draw a penalty. If they don't make the play, that means they're not in a good position, and we all know what happens in hockey when people aren't in a good position, whether offensive or defensively, that's when they usually commit penalties. And the other thing to remember, too, is to check any of the after whistle sections to see if any scrums or agitators or anything like that happens. So as you can see, once you start to fully understand and get down what all the different ratings are used for and what each section of the card corresponds to, you see here that this dot-to-dot connecting of actions and in ratings checks, etc., starts to develop a pretty flowing, exciting brand of hockey. And that's why we go to hockey games, right? Because it's a fast-paced game, a lot of action, hitting, good shots, good goals, everything like that. And that's the style of game that will develop with rinkside hockey as soon as you go through the learning curve and actually learn the components of the game, etc., It'll take a few of them to get it down. But once you understand what you're looking for and what to check against, you just start flipping those cards and the action starts to link together. And pretty soon you've got some pretty free-flowing, high-level action happening on the ice. And when you start to add other things like penalty kills, power plays, fights, scrums, all that kind of stuff, it makes for some pretty exciting games between the players. And you throw in goalies standing on their head and having great games or even bad games, and then you start to get a pretty good narrative of everything that's happening on the ice. So anyways, went through some basic shifts here with the play result cards and the lines we had down there for the Penguins and the Flyers. And so if you have any questions or still wondering about certain things, you can go to ftpsportsgames.com, and then you can also go to the FTP Sports forum on Delphi, maybe ask some questions there, etc., And thank you for joining us at FTP Sports Games.